So they had to more or less rebuild a whole section of it. It reopened in 1912 and it remained in good enough condition until 1972 during the Troubles. A couple of bombs inside caused a lot of damage. It got restored again, and now it's getting restored again. So it's been restored and rebuilt several occasions. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to tell you about the Guildhall is about a man called Sam McKay. Okay, Sam McKay was the old caretaker of the Guildhall, and what he would do if there was any VIPs visiting, no important people was visiting, or politicians, or you know, people like that, he would dress like a town crier. Anybody know what a town crier is? Yes, he wears a wee strange looking hat, strange coat. He has a bell. You get this in all the towns, especially over in England. They would sort of announce, you know, that there was certain events going to happen. They'd ring a bell, hear ye, hear ye. There'll be a public meeting today at 4 o'clock or stuff like that. And for some reason, Sam McKay ended up wearing the same sort of uniform. If any VIPs were visiting, he would show them around, do a wee tour of the building. And when he died in 1928, that whole practice of dressing like a town crier, that ended. Okay, now, after he died, people reported, the staff reported seeing his figure walking around in the upper floor in the Great Hall. And other staff says, I didn't see anything, so they thought they were all making up stories and playing tricks. So that was fair enough. 12 years ago, a group of American tourists were on a guided tour off the Guildhall inside. It wasn't me, it was the guide, and before you ask, it was another tour guide. He'd only started working as a guide. He didn't know the story about Sam McKay's ghost being seen inside. So, the group of Americans are walking around the Great Hall, and one of the American tourists, he turns around to the tour guide, and he says, who's the guy I saw wearing the funny costume? And the tour guide says, what guy? He says, what's he wearing? He says he's wearing a stupid looking hat and a big strange looking coat, and he's got a sort of, he doesn't have a bell in his hand, but he's got a sort of strange looking pair of trousers on him. He says, I don't know who that is at all. He says, it might be an actor, because he used to hold a lot of plays in the Guildhall. So he went to one of the security men, all the Americans, 50 Americans standing beside the security man, and the tour guide says, this gentleman here has just seen a man upstairs wearing a strange costume, so we're looking to find out who it is. And the security man says, well, what's he look like? He says, well, he's wearing a strange hat and strange coats. It's described the whole thing. And the security man says, that's not an actor. He says, that's our ghost. He says, what? He says, that's our ghost, that's Sam McKay. That's the man who haunts the upper floor. And he told them all about Sam McKay being the old caretaker. All the Americans ran out like a shot. 50 Americans couldn't get out of the Guildhall quick enough because they'd just been told that they'd seen a ghost. Now, if you think about it, it was the tourist, not the tour guide, who told the security man what this person looked like. The tourist, he knew nothing about any ghost story. So as far as